All right, part two of the Lorne Armstrong sentencing transcript review, I guess. Sorry that this is so much later than part one. Didn't have much time to do it today, or I guess this week. And it's early. It's early morning Lornography here, 9:30, 9:20 in the morning. Um, this might be the only time I have to do it this weekend, so forgive me if I'm a little bit out of it. I'm only just having my cup of coffee right now. Not weak coffee, at least, though, so it should get me a week. But anyways, we are up to Lorne Armstrong versus Judge Woodcawk, and so this should be it's quite a good back and forth, and I haven't reread it since the last time I did this, so I haven't reread it in the day since the first video, so I might have forgotten some things, and so this might be a little bit of a reaction as well because I don't have it memorized. As Dan Allen said, maybe so. I don't have it memorized, but we're gonna take a look at it. So, all right. So here we go. So Lorne has just finished talking. We're up to right here. So, Mr. Armstrong, I'm going to speak to you very briefly. As I do, I'm going to tell you what sentence I'm going to impose, and then I'll ask you to stand for the imposition of sentence. So you've got two overriding issues, and the first is, I think the most prominent, is your alcohol abuse. You've got to figure out a way to stop drinking. The drinking isn't doing you any good. It's causing you to bump heads with probation, but more than that, it's just not doing you any good. When people drink, they lose control, they lose their inhibitions, and they do stupid things. And they act foolishly, and you don't need to do that anymore. And he's right. He is very right, at least when it comes to Lorne. I'm not saying people shouldn't drink. You can do whatever the hell you want. I don't really care. But when you do it and you're like Lorne Armstrong and you get drunk and you start messaging females that you never met, females that are cod fishing you, you're gonna get in trouble and you're gonna do some stupid shit. And for Lorne in rural Maine as a sex offender, living on a trailer, what else is there to do for him though? So I mean that's probably what it is. Lorne's just like, oh, I got nothing else to do. I'm bored. I got nothing I can do. I can't go out. I can't meet anybody. I'm not going to be a country music star, even though he still kind of thinks that. But, yeah, it's the judge is so right. At least when it comes to Lorne, he's very right. Lorne, when he's sober, I mean, I haven't listened to the calls personally, most of the calls personally, but when he is sober in them, he seems to be a little bit more aware of what's going on. He doesn't make a fucking bumbling idiot out of himself. I mean, he still is a fucking idiot, but he doesn't make a complete fool out of himself. So, it's when he's drunk that's when he gets fucking out of control. And who knows during the holy Lornography how much of that was he drunk for? You can hear it in some of the calls. I think he's the calls to the decoy. How he sounds like he's drunk in them. Is that what caused him to whip out Mr. Penis? I don't know. It's possible though. It is possible. You don't need alcohol, it's not good for you. And what you have to do is look in the mirror and accept the fact that you're an alcoholic. You drink too much even when it's not good for you, and you need the help of other people who can guide you away from drinking. It's a tough drug. It's a hard drug. There's a lot of alcoholics. There's no shame in it. The shame is not accepting the help. So that's the first thing you have to confront your alcoholism. Part of alcohol abuse is that people try and hide it and they start sneaking around. It's not, if you sneak a drink, you're not fooling anybody. So this is some pay for it type counseling that Lorne has been needing for so many years now. I mean, this is a judge who really shouldn't have any vested interest in Lorne. He's never met Lorne prior to this incident. He sounds more like apparent than Lorne has probably ever gotten in his life. Lorne's never gotten ass kicking like this except for when he met Chris Hansen. But when Chris Hansen was doing it, it wasn't for Lorne's benefit. It was to fucking humiliate him. Lorne's needed something like this for some time, and he's needed someone to just tell him this blunt, honest truth about it, and that he's helping him. He's trying to help him when he has really no vested interest in doing so. Where were all the people that all the people that supposedly cared about Lorne? They never did this to him. They never gave him this kind of help. This Judge Woodcawk, sounds like like more like a concerned parent than a judge right now. Whereas judges, I mean, they usually can see they definitely have a heart. They can definitely empathize with people, but he really has no reason to be empathetic about Lorne, considering what he did, considering the nature of this crime, how old he is. Also, you're not gonna I don't think you're gonna make a nearly 50-year-old man change his ways, especially Lorne Armstrong, who we've seen has it's quite the personality disorder, I guess. I would love, this is really what it would be. I want to know, is Lorne crying during this whole berating here? Because this is some life-changing shit. If I was in Lorne's position and I was getting this advice, I would be taking fucking notes. Like, yeah, you're right. Help me out. Help me out. Okay. The next thing is this online business. And I can tell you the best thing for you, Mr. Armstrong, is just pretend it doesn't exist. Just cut it off. You don't need it. In some ways, I think the world would be a lot better off if we didn't have an internet. We didn't have email. We didn't have it's created a lot of good, but it's created a lot of unexpected harm. You don't need it. You don't need to go online. There's no reason. If people are talking about you online and you don't go online, you'll never know about it. Just divorce yourself from it. So if somebody wants to say something about you online, if you don't hear it, you'll never know it. And that's so true. Out of sight, out of mind. That might not be the healthiest way to go about your problems. If I don't even think about it, it's not even there. I mean, that's not maybe the best way, but it can be effective. If you just don't give a fuck, it's gonna probably be okay. And what Lorne doesn't realize is he thinks that he's like a celebrity in the sense that like millions of people know who he is. On the show, the casual viewer who only watched the Bowling Green episode is probably not going to remember Lorne Armstrong. That's just the facts of it. They made him look so much better on the show than he actually was. They cut out a lot from the uncut footage. They cut out a lot of the things that they could have put in from that chat log. They could have put in something from the phone calls. They didn't. They made Lorne look actually really good. He was just basically a B-list predator who said, "Oh, God." That's basically what it was. That's the only thing that could have stood out about him. He showed up on his birthday. They said, "Oh, God." That's it. That's the only thing you could have taken away from that. I think he wasn't even he was like a throwaway predator in Bowling Green. They were much more interested in Dustin McFetridge, the fucking Lieutenant Michael, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't even care about him. It's because he got tased. That's the only reason people care about him. I don't even remember his fucking name. What was it, like Patterson? Michael Patterson? I don't even know. But yeah. Lorne was a throwaway predator in the show. Yeah, but he thinks that there was a cult following came along and made him more than that. And instead of just people from the show not knowing who he was, it became like a few thousand people had like a cult following on the internet. And in Lorne's mind, that made him a celebrity. Like no one really is. Lorne is delusional. He thinks he's like a celebrity, like a regular online celebrity. He's not. He's outside of the Church of COD and the other communities that have popped up. Lorne is an unknown, and if you saw Lorne on the street, he looks like just a regular guy. He's a little bit bald. He is bald, but that's nothing that really makes him stand out. But then Lorne goes on the internet and defends himself and makes a fool out of himself, and it's just not doing it's not doing anybody any good. I'm not a fan of the cod fishing. Not that I don't care. Not that I'm sympathetic for Lorne. I'm not. He put himself in all of these situations. But I don't find it entertaining. I don't find it funny. That's just me. If you like it, I wish I could like it. But I don't like it. I envy you. I wish I could like it. I don't though. But it's not doing Lorne any good. It's not doing anybody any good. And I think this judge is right. He needs to cut it off. He needs to count. He needs to finally take his own fucking advice. I think I said this in the earlier episode, in the earlier video, but he needs to take his own advice from 12 years ago at this point and get some counseling and get off the internet. He needs to just take his own advice. And now I don't know if he's ever thought of this before Judge Woodcawk said it. Judge Woodcawk, a complete and total stranger, is helping Lorne out. That's something, man. All right, getting too heated here for 9:30 in the morning. All right. And pretty soon it's like everything else. You keep putting your head up, someone's going to take a shot at you. If you keep your head down, they're not going to pay any attention to you. Over time, you're going to disappear on the internet. But if you rile them up, you're going to go after you. They're going to go after you. There's no talking to people on the internet. You're not going to convince them that you're a good person. It's not going to happen. They'll never meet you. They don't know you, and all they know about you is your criminal history. You're not going to suddenly change their mind. Oh, he tells me he's a good guy, so I ought to believe him. They're not going to believe you. And they think it's fun to provoke you, so just cut it off. You don't need it. Listen to the radio, read a book, watch TV, but don't go on the internet. And again, he's so right. He is so right. The internet is full of trolls. I mean, everyone, because why wouldn't there be? A lot of it is pretty funny, but it's not productive to anybody. And for the person, you're not gonna win an argument on the internet. It just doesn't happen. No one has ever fucking went up there on the internet, typed a block of text and said boom, and then the person on the other end said, "Oh, you got me, you won." No, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And Lorne, I can't believe that after what he did, that he's still on the internet. Like, he got codfished twice that we know of, with Amanda James and Kayla. And that all happened on the internet, and he still goes back to it. After all of that, he still goes back to it. I don't think he hasn't learned that it doesn't do him any good. It doesn't do him any good. It's not doing him any good. And you're not going to defend yourself, especially as a registered sex offender. You're not going to defend yourself and win people over. It's not going to happen. He's just so right. Lorne needs to just keep quiet. Like 98% of the other predators, he needs to just keep quiet. He lives in rural Maine. He's got an elderly mother. He needs to just take care of her while he still can, and just live out his life, man, in private. He needs to find something. He needs to find some other sort of hobbies, like whether it's building train sets like Charles Harding, or fucking like oh my god. Oh, I just got so scared. Something just went off in the background. Oh, that scared the hell out of me. Ah, give me a second. Okay, so whether it's building train sets like Charles Harding, or Jay Refner, who is raising hermit crabs or something. Lorne needs to find some sort of hobby, and it can't be boozing, and it can't be going on the internet talking to girls. Can't be one of those two. Do whatever else he wants. That's fine with me. And I think what's happening in part is that you drink too much, and then you go on the internet, and then you're really asking for it because you're not acting sensibly either. So you've got oh shit. You've got two things you've got to control. What an awkward sentence that was. You've got two things you've got to control. It's not a it's a poorly worded sentence right there. You've got to control your alcohol abuse, and you've got to control your internet access. If you stop drinking alcohol, that's a huge first step. And the second step is to stop going on the internet. Just leave it. If you did those two things, I think you'd be an awful lot happier. What do I do about? He's going to talk to you right now. So Lorne chirps in. What do I do about? Lorne, you just don't have you don't have the message yet. You don't have a clue. You haven't gotten it from all this up here. You haven't realized what he's trying to say. Come on, it's interesting. I think Lorne, there is no third chance for Lorne. This is it. This is his warning right here. If he gets in trouble again, he's done. So he needs to take this advice, if he wants to stay out of prison. From what we've seen of Lorne over the years, I don't think he's never shown any signs of changing. So I'll believe it when I see it. But it might be better off, for the community if Lorne disappears. I think there'll be still some attempts at contact, at the end, in the future. But I think it'd be probably better off. Lorneography had a good run. And who would have thought that it would have gotten as far as it did? The golden age of Lorneography was quite a place to be around. I wasn't around for that. I've gone back and watched so much of it. The old Church of God stuff, some of the Page Shaman stuff. I've gone back and done that. That was quality content, man. But maybe we're better off without it at this point. Be good for people to move on. Maybe. Lorne hasn't shown any signs of that, and there will always be somebody who's going to try to make contact with Lorne. But I guess it's going to be the ball is going to be in Lorne's court, because there will be somebody trying to contact him, and it'll be up to Lorne to see if he falls for it again. Nobody can make him do it except for himself. Just leave it behind. That's what I'm telling you. Just leave it behind. That's my best advice. Leave it behind. If you want everything summed up in a sentence, that's probably what it is. Just leave it behind. That's what it is in a sentence. Leave everything behind. This could be a good turning point for Lorne. I mean, he's already 50 years old. I mean, he's not really going to redeem himself, but it's good advice. This could be a turning point for him. He's got to go through this shit, and he could come out as a better person, or he could go back to his old ways. But Woodcawk is telling him what the deal is. The problem is that you committed a crime that makes people angry, and you committed a crime that worries people, because they all love little 13-year-old girls and they worry about them. And you can ask any father or mother out there, they worry themselves sick that someone's going to contact their daughter on the internet and they won't know about it. And some guy's going to drive across straight lines to try to visit and have sex with them. That's something you did, and you're not going to change anyone's mind about it by going on and arguing with them on the internet. So just cut it out. That's the thing. Lorne, at this point, I don't know if Lorne knows that that's what he did. Lorne is still trying to prove his innocence. So what the fuck? Lorne this might just be flying over Lorne's head. Because Lorne believes that the female powers forced him drive over there and do that, which is ridiculous, of course, but that's what he believes in his mind. So, um, and also I don't really care. I mean, I don't watch TCAP to fucking watch predators get sweet justice brought to them. I just don't. That's just me. I watch it for the comedy. Um, but yeah. So for me personally, I mean, I don't care about that. Again, I don't. I'm not angry at Lorne for what he did. I'm angry at him because he can't come over what he did. He can't just admit what he did. He can't see himself in the mirror. That's what I'm would be angry at Lorne about. Not about a crime that happened 12 years ago. Because I'm not. I don't really. It wouldn't matter to me. Um, that's not why I watch TCAP. I watch it for the funny, and that's why for the unintentional humor in it. And Lorne Armstrong, there was a lot of unintentional humor about him. Um, but when at some point you got to realize what you did, and after 5 years in prison or whatever it was, and um, everything that's happened since, you think Lorne would realize, but he doesn't. Because there are people who are still genuinely angry with him for what he did. And those people are ones that are probably part of the part of trolling him. If you keep doing it, if you keep drinking too much and you keep going on the internet, you're going to spend more and more time in jail. So listen to Mr. Turgeon. He's a very fine officer. He's his probation officer. He's a good officer. He's a good man. He can help you. But if you don't, if you start disobeying him and start lying to him, start sneaking around, he's going to turn into a police officer. You're going to be back here, and I'm not going to be happy to see you. Do you understand what I'm telling you? So that's basically like, hey, this is it. This is your warning shot. This is Lorne's warning. He doesn't get another chance after this. So basically, Woodcawk is saying, hey, if I see you in this court again, it's not gonna be good for you. So yeah, again, I wish we had footage of this. I'd love to see if Lorne was crying during all of that, because now he's finally, that's like the end of his little tirade against Lorne. That's the end of it. So I'd love to see if Lorne was crying during it. I haven't watched Burkett's commentary. So I don't know if he mentioned it, but maybe someone can let me know. I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to see the footage of this. So yep. Yes, sir. God. You'll stand for the imposition of the sentence. And here we go. the fucking the second crucifixion of Lorne Armstrong right here. Oh shit. Okay. So this is basically where I don't think Lorne might not speak again. Again, this is all more legalese and his new probation and everything. I'm not really gonna get into that. It's not really the most interesting, but I will read just a part where he gets his sentence read on him. The defendant is hereby committed to the custody of the United States Bureau of Prison to be imprisoned for 6 months. The cost of the incarceration fee is waived. The defendant is to be remanded to the custody of United States Marshal. Upon release from imprisonment, the defendant shall be on supervised release for a term of life. The defendant shall comply with the newly imposed standard conditions effective November 1, 2016, and all previously imposed special conditions. And blah, blah, blah. Okay, so mental health treatment. He needs to go back into sex offender class. He needs to not control drugs, alcohol, blah, blah, blah. Not associate with individuals consuming alcohol. So basically, the irony of it is that Lorne thought he was going to be released on this day. He thought he was going to go home. That's not. I wonder how much of a shock this was to Lorne. If he was really not expecting that to happen. I don't know how he could have thought that, but okay. I mean, he is delusional, and I don't know if 6 months is enough to get him back on track. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I'd love to be fly on the wall in that prison. And oh shit. Hang on one sec. I'm just gonna pull up a new window of Chrome here. Bureau of Prisons inmate lookup. Just so we can see if anything has changed about Lorne since the last time I looked at this. Lorne Lynn. Yep, okay, so release date 2/5/20. So did that get pushed back? I thought he was supposed to. This might not be updated to reflect. I thought he was going to be out in January. I don't know though, but he's in Fort Dix, the same place he did his time originally, and he apparently was in Brooklyn at one point. I don't know if they were just moved him there temporarily before they moved him to Fort Dix, or if he was originally supposed to go to Brooklyn, and he got his ass kicked or something, or he cried and complained enough to get to Fort Dix. But yeah, that's where Lorne is right now. I wish we had a mugshot. But we don't. I'd love to see it though. And another just oddity out of out of this, he was in PC in the Maine County Jail. Shit. I want to find the line. Really? I don't think that's true. I was trying to find it earlier just by scanning through it. He was in PC in the Maine County Jail that he was in before this. And, you know, if you ever heard, he was talking to the Codfishers, and he was speaking about how he was like, oh, he knows everybody at that jail. He knows all the guards from his days in high school. And so he's like, oh yeah, I'm having a really good time. And he was in PC. So that's pretty funny. Just another lie from Lorne. And this, one other thing. I meant to bring this up earlier. I didn't bring up in the first video. Look at this mistyping here. So as I understand it, on October 18th, 2007, he traveled with interstate commerce with the intention to engage in illicit sexual contact with a person he had met online who he thought was Kyla, a 13-year-old minor, and was actually an undercover sting. The judge got Kayla's name wrong. Oh man. Do you think Lori was had a brief moment where he's like, oh, that's it. I'm gonna kill this judge. He got her name wrong. And that was probably eating at Lorne that they brought that up. Lorne was probably not happy that they brought that up. I mean, it's just so funny to me how it's still all a part of his life. 12 years later, he still can't get over that. That's just really funny to me personally. But I think that's it. It's the end of Lorne Armstrong's sentencing. It's all that I care to go through anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all later.